Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I am Jenneviere and I am going to be your host today. I'm going to banter a little bit while everyone filters in and gets situated. I'm so excited that you're joining us. I am calling out to you from San Francisco, California, where it is gorgeously sunny, as you can see. And we're just so excited to be here with you and share this amazing content with you about strategies to delight your customers as we look toward this very busy peak season that's coming up. So the goal today is to empower you with expertise and experiences and figure out next steps to that delighting your customers that I mentioned, both for the holiday season here and beyond. We want to make sure that we keep those as loyal customers even beyond this peak season. So we're going to do that today, starting with some hard-hitting questions. I'm so excited. Like, the content we have for you is just so great today for our merchant panel, which I'll introduce you to in just a moment. And then we're going to open up a question and answer period on the live stream. So thank you to everyone who submitted questions previously on our forum, and we'll be sure to address those. And there's no need to wait to get your burning questions in today. We have some folks in the live chat who will also help to answer them and get them queued up for our panelists as we move forward. So a few friendly reminders as we start today's webinar. You can sign into the chat to participate in today's discussion. Drop your questions in there anytime. Like I said, no need to wait. The Q&A will happen in the latter portion of the event, and we'll make sure that we get answers for your burning questions, because I'm sure you have amazing questions that are going to come at us. And we have a lot of valuable information today, but don't worry. I know you're probably going to be furiously writing out notes and trying to keep track of everything we talk about, but a link will go out to the video about 24 hours after we close today. So you can rewatch, you can pause it, you can take even more notes and make sure that you don't miss anything on the replay. It'll also be live on shopify.com/BFCM for you to watch there after that 24-hour period has passed. So with that said, let us get started. I mentioned that I'm Jenneviere. I'm going to introduce our panelists coming up. The first panelist I want to bring onto the stage is Megan Schmer. She's the CEO and co-founder of Olde and Olde. And hi, Megan, I'm so glad for you to join us. Thank you so much. I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our guests.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Okay. My name is Megan. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Olde and Olde. We are based here in Denver. We make meditation goods and other high-quality soft items. I started the company when I was having my own personal struggle with postpartum depression. And so our why as a company is we exist to combat loneliness and provide a soft place to land. We are laser focused on mindful manufacturing and bringing our sourcing circle as close to us as possible.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining us, Megan. I'm so excited to have you speaking to us. I know you have some really great insights. I can't wait to share them with everyone who's on the call with us as well. Next up, I would like to introduce Ori Zohar, who is the co-founder and co-CEO of Burlap and Barrel. Ori, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so pleased to have you here today. I would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone who is watching.
Oh my God, hi. And hi, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Ori, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Burlap and Barrel. We're a single origin spice company. We're turning 5 years old on Friday, and we're going to have a bunch of fun stuff to do that. Thank you. We work with smallholder farmers. We import their spices, set them up with our own direct exporter, and make sure they get a much larger slice of the pie. And we used to be to restaurants until the pandemic hit, but now we're primarily D2C. And in 2020, we ended up growing 5X and going this really crazy growth process. And so really excited to share with you what we learned, how we updated the site, how we handle kind of all that traffic and all that volume and stay really personalized, even with, an extra zero added to our orders.
Wow, 5X and 5 years. That is quite an accomplishment. Congratulations. And thank you so much for joining us, Ori. And then last but certainly not least, I would like to bring onto the stage Mark Perini, who is the owner and lead Shopify expert at ICEE Social. Mark, thank you so much for joining us. I'm loving that jacket look you have going on.
Thank you.
I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our guests as well.
Hey, I'm Mark Perini. I'm the owner and lead Shopify expert at ICEE Social. We're a boutique agency based in Brooklyn, New York. We specialize in development and growth of Shopify merchants. I started the company back in 2008, which was a recession, and we're now in the midst of a pandemic. So we've seen the bottoms and the tops of the mountains and the valleys. And we're going to get through this, and we're going to just keep on keeping on. And I'm just excited to be here and to share some of our knowledge through the years.
Love it. Keep on keeping on. That is like 2021's motto, I feel like. I mean, we're still in March 2020 as far as anyone else is concerned. So like that hasn't ended, right? But thank you so much for joining us. I'm so happy to have you. And to all three of you and to everyone listening at home, I just thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing this knowledge with us. So I'm going to dive right in, no holds barred. We talk a lot about customer delight. We talk about this phrase customer delight so much sometimes that it kind of feels like a watered down phrase a little bit. But it is also still really important. And so I would love to hear from each of you. And maybe we can start with Megan. What does delighting your customers mean to you as a business owner?
So I think our business is really just me and my husband and maybe a few seasonal employees. So customer delight to us is sitting in our business values and showing up and showing our value as to what our core values are: integrity, mindful manufacturing, high quality, and customer service. And because I think as we see customers now, they are shopping their own personal values. So when I can show you what my business values are, we're made in the USA, we are made locally, we're focused on manufacturing, we plant a tree when we make a cushion, I use those things to attract the correct customer. And because our goods are so tactile and we're creating a product value through our business values, we attract those customers and we align on our values. And for us, that's how we do personalization.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that you plant a tree for every cushion. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Ori, I would love to hear what you think about delighting your customers as a business owner as well. I know you have some really great thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, people think of spices as a commodity, that like all cinnamon is the same as cinnamon and it doesn't matter. And they treat it almost like, the way that we think about like oil or like it's all the same. We treat it as an agricultural product, and we know where our kind of apples come from, and our produce and our meat and our tea and our coffee and our chocolate. But spices, people don't even know that, cinnamon comes from a tree. It's actually tree bark. And peppercorns is the fruit of a climbing vine. And so we really don't have that connection there. So what we want is people to come to our site, instead of going to the grocery store, seeing a wall of spices that's, organized alphabetically and trying to figure out what they need, but to really make it a memorable and a fun experience. How do we get them to come back? How do we teach them a story about like something or where this came from and who grew it? How do we help them use it to make sure that at the next time that they cook dinner for their friends or their family, it's a super memorable thing? And just how do we make it kind of fun and easy and intuitive across the whole site so they can go through that? And, more than half of our customers place a second order. And really like the core of we just want them to come back again and to beat this grocery experience. So find what they want, learn something new about it, and have it arrive in record speed. That's really our goal.
I love that. I love that idea of like empowering them with new information. Like imagine being that person who didn't know that peppercorns, what did you say? Peppercorns were a climbing vine?
The fruit of a climbing vine. And,
Like imagine being able to go to your next dinner party and be like, by the way, did you know?
There are studies that if you know about where your food comes from and know why it's special, that you will rate it as tasting better, right? It's that whole like bottle of wine, like put a cheap wine in an expensive bottle, people will say it tastes better. So this is a non-deceptive version of that, of saying, here's what makes this so special. And people are like, oh, I can taste it. I have the tasting notes. I know it. And that's really magic for us.
That is actually like, that feels like the true definition of delightful when we talk about customer delight. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Mark, I know that you work with a multitude of merchants, so I'd love to hear what you have to say about delighting customers as a business owner.
Yeah. So for us, our customers are merchants. So what we did is very early on, our core values, we align them directly with customers. So if a customer is succeeding, if a customer is seeing 2x, 4x, 10x growth after an audit or a redesign, then we feel that too, because again, we are like live and die by the customer. We're all about customer support, all about customer success. So by aligning those values together, when they succeed, we succeed. So like our big push, our biggest like motto is that like we want merchants to make more money. and we want merchants to succeed and be independent. And so like we have kind of an entrepreneurship accelerator, and like we're all about people just growing and reaching their full potential.
Lovely. I can't imagine more delightful things than as a merchant, making more money, being more successful. That's also delight. Like as a merchant myself, like, yes, please, more of that. Yes, thank you. Amazing. So I'd like to dive into a little bit about like your personal experience with your merchants, with your shoppers, with your buyers, depending upon which one of you I'm talking to. And can you think of a specific time when one of your customers was delighted, when you got to experience that delight, that success in delighting them? Or do you have anything that comes to mind for that?
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's all about like, we really try to have really like personal conversations with people. Like, how do we don't get to be at a store, right? We don't get to stand behind the counter and see what they're looking at and see what they're considering and see what they're smelling and what questions they ask. So like we try to really encourage that. And so we have these awesome order notification templates, which I'll talk to you more about a little bit later, but we get all this pulse on our customer. Is it their first time order? If so, we should send them a personal welcome note, not automated, not anything, just saying, hey, I'm Ori. I'm the co-founder of Burlap and Barrel. Thanks for placing your first order. How did you find us? We follow up with a bunch of open-ended questions. And we find like usually in the second or third email, that's when the real magic happens. Like the second I say, oh, thank you, that was really nice. I'm like, cool, what are you cooking with it? And all of a sudden they bring me into their kitchen. I hear what they're cooking, how they're using it, what was missing from the site, all this and that. I often ask like, what do you wish we carried? What could we do better? Was there anything that you didn't really like? We just try to kind of open up all these questions, and this is purely qualitative research. But if you have 10 of these conversations a week or so, you're going to start getting really, really valuable insight. And one example of that insight is just how we had a handful of customers that reached out to us and said, I want one of every spice that you carry. And I'm like, really? We have 45 spices. Are you sure? And they said, yes. And so we made this thing called the Complete Collection. It has 45, 50 spices, whatever we've got in stock. Right now it's over $400. And last year we did $100,000 of revenue only of the Complete Collection, which is totally insane. I wouldn't have bought it. I don't know who, but it turns out that people that want to do gifting, new like housewarming, or you yourself move into a new house, or some that just want to be grand and just over the top for the chef that has everything. I wouldn't have stumbled across this. I wouldn't have thought about this myself. It was just because we were having lots of conversations with customers. We saw this request happening time and time again. We're an e-commerce store, so we don't need any shelf space for it. It's just a listing that we threw up there, and it turned out that it started moving and started driving a meaningful amount of revenue for us.
I love that. What an inspiration to have that just like light bulb go off. Like, oh, I guess talking to customers, I learn what they like, and that's amazing. That's phenomenal. I love that. Mark, do you have a thing that comes to mind when you think about like a time when your customers have been delighted and you've got to experience that little like a dopamine rush? Yeah.
So at the beginning of the pandemic, one of our clients lost her job. She was in the event space. So we helped her evolve that kind of side hustle into like a catering baking business, into a full-time business. We built her a Shopify store. And she had previously been selling these scones at marketplaces and pop-ups in New York. But obviously with COVID, that all went away completely. So we built her a website. She was on Squarespace. We moved her over to Shopify, and you could actually purchase the goods. And so I'm proud to say like she had an order every day since she launched, and like it's been like wildly successful even.
Yay.
And we really weaved like the brand DNA. That's something that we're big on, like weaving the brand DNA into the homepage, into the website. So there's a little bit, her brand is a little bit funny, a little bit quirky, a little bit elegant. So like all of those things are inside that. And now she's doing that as her full-time business, has 6 or 7 employees, and she's distributed up and down the East Coast, like in all the coffee shops, like major coffee shops in New York. And, and it's just like such a success story. And like
love it.
That we were a part of that is like why I get up in the morning.
Yeah, that's a chef's kiss story right there.
Right.
Yeah, amazing. Megan, I'd love to hear what you have on your mind about when a time that your customer has been delighted and you got to experience that little rush.
I mean, whenever I talk about our company and I share my story, like I started this because I had postpartum depression, and what was helping me was soft things and pillows and blankets. And so whenever you sit on your cushion, like I'm sitting with you, I created this to combat loneliness and provide a soft place to land. So I get a fair amount of messages from moms and other women that say, I use your blanket and I think of you. Thank you for creating the soft place to land. So that always delights me to no end to hear that. But it also is a way of creating this webbing of community. Like whenever you have one of our products, like we're all sitting together.
Oh, how do you not just like cry every day at these stories like that? I'm legit like tearing up and like I have chills.
I mean, I think it's one of those things that you create what you needed. And so, I mean, there are a lot of tears, but it's also like joy that we're making something that wasn't there before.
I love that. And also like as a mother who went through postpartum stuff as well, like, yeah, that's a huge community in and of itself too. And there's a lot of need for support there. So that's an amazing story. I love that. Thank you so much. I actually want to shift gears just a little bit and like put you all in the buyer's seat for the next question. I want to know if you have any experiences where you were on the receiving end, like as a shopper, as a purchaser, on the receiving end of a delightful experience. Like, was there a time that you can think of, and maybe I'll start with you, Mark, a time where you had just had an experience as a buyer where you were just like, man, this is exactly what it should be about.
Yeah, I'm a little bit obsessed with retail in general. So it's lucky that I live in Brooklyn and New York City, because I think the retail experience is something that's just constantly evolving. Recently, I went into this Buck Mason that was down in Nolita, and I had bought something from the website, and I'm like, hey, let me check it out IRL and see what they had.
And IRL, just for anybody who doesn't know, IRL is in real life. We use IRL a lot, but I want to make sure that everyone who is logging in can keep up with our acronyms, because sometimes our business gets a little flummoxed by them.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No, great.
The vibe there very much mirrored what was on the site. Like vintage leather chairs, the fragrance, the like chill lounge music. The sales associate was cool. He like wanted to get to know me, my style. Like I instantly trusted him. And they gave you a complimentary whiskey, which, to go back to Ori's point, like I know. It's like, it's a little.
Where is this place again? I think I need to visit.
Nolita. No, but to go back to what Ori was saying, like the personalized note, this is like a personalized thing that like someone's presenting to you, right? It feels special. It makes you feel like a VIP. And I think like feeling a little bit VIP is very important in retail.
Agree.
And then, he was never pushy, and I walked out with more than I intended to buy because I felt like trusted. And again, I had that kind of zing that you get when you have a good experience and you made maybe an impulse purchase, but that you're excited about. And I just feel like that's the perfect example of like experiential retail. I got to feel the brand. I got to see the brand. And I just think that
you got to smell the brand.
Yeah. Like all the senses around the brand. And I think that that's super important.
I love that. And I'm sure that your whiskey had nothing to do with that higher than expected purchase price, right?
No, definitely.
That's a nice tactic. Megan, do you have something that comes to mind when you think about a time that you've been delighted as a shopper?
Yeah. A few years ago, I ordered prescription sunglasses from Warby Parker. And for whatever reason, the address got sent back to like their distribution center. And I contacted them and I was like, hey, it says it was delivered, but that's not my address. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We'll send it out next day. And like the next day, the sunglasses show up. And I think like a week later, the original pair showed up, and I contacted them and I was like, should I send, like, can I send these back to you? Can you help me with the shipping label? And they're like, no, just keep them. It's fine. So then like you get, and I wasn't charged anything extra. So I got my sunglasses that were delivered very quickly. And then I got a backup pair of sunglasses, and like Warby Parker fan for life.
Right. Totally. I think, Ori, maybe you have a similar story that I was hearing about something misshipment perhaps.
Yeah. First of all, these are Warby Parker glasses. And I also, there was a little red dot on the first pair, and they just sent me another pair for free, which was awesome. And I appreciated it. Kind of no questions asked, but yeah.
Apparently Warby Parker's killing it.
Yeah, they're doing it. I bought socks from Bombas, and the same thing is like if they shipped, it said we don't know when are they arriving, this and that. A week or two passed, which wasn't their fault. It's the U.S. Postal Service kind of melting down. And I just reached out to them and I said, hey, I don't know. Do you know where they are? They said, we don't know. We went ahead, shipped you another pair. Both pairs ended up arriving within a couple of days. I said, do you want me to ship these back? Well, it's not close. What do you want? And they said, just keep them, donate them, gift them to friends, do whatever you want with them. And, I really love that. And kind of it taught me also the lesson for Burlap and Barrel to kind of build some of that into your margin to allow you to be generous, to allow you to be big, to allow you to give people and have them an extra thing. We've accidentally shipped shipping labels. We mixed shipping labels on things at our fulfillment center. One of our customers got a costume because our fulfillment center apparently also sends out costumes. And we reached out to them and said, we're so sorry. And they said, actually, can we keep this costume? And we're like, yeah, go for it. And we also shipped them their spices. But just like, how can you as a brand be generous, versus like fighting with your customers? Did it arrive? No, you're lying. Oh my God, no. Can you just get it? It's at the neighbors. Go get it. It's like, no, just find a way to say yes and replace it every single time. You're going to go from making a customer badmouth you and want to give you a 1-star review to giving you a 5-star and talking to you about all their friends. So we learned that and took that to heart.
So good. I love what you said, Ori, that find a way to say yes. I love that. And like through all three of your stories, what I'm hearing, I sense I have two themes that I'm hearing. I'm hearing one is trust. There's a level of trust, both as a, Mark, you felt like you could trust that sales associate not to be pushy and also not to spike your drink, which is lovely. But then for the other two of you, like there's this trust of like, I don't need proof that it didn't arrive. I don't need you to take a photo of your empty porch. I'm just going to send you a replacement. And then the other thing is just generosity. So you nailed that, Ori. Like there's a theme of generosity here, right? That whiskey that you got comped, the extra pairs of sunglasses. There's such a generous nature. And I wonder if that generosity can actually take us into the next topic that I want to talk about a little bit, which is personalization, which I feel sort of go hand in hand, right? There's a level of generosity that exists in personalization. So I'm curious to know how you currently personalize your customer experiences. And maybe Mark, I can start with you for this one. How are you personalizing things for your customers?
Yeah, so like I said, retail is something that I'm kind of obsessed with. And when you go into a retail space, what's the thing you remember the most? For me, it's the sales associate. It's the people that are working in the store. It's their, opinions. It's their, what they're doing, what they suggest, all of that. And those are the real like brand ambassadors. So we as iSocial, we're trying to figure out how do we take that, and during COVID times, how do we turn that on an online store, right? And what we found was a great way of doing it is quizzes. So especially like fun quizzes that like, maybe the answers or the questions are not things that you would consider. Like, we have a clothing brand that the first thing they ask is, what's your sign? And it's, again, it's kind of gimmicky, but they're using that first party, that zero party data, and they're grabbing that and they're segmenting by like everyone who's an Aquarius so they could approximate birthdays, right? But it's also like, if you know a little bit about an Aquarius and maybe they're even keel or that sort of thing, like you could factor that into the decisions on like the collection that you're showing afterwards. So anyway, we found some of our clients are doing 20% increase in AOV when after giving them quiz results that are like a customized curated collection, because those are things that are specific to that customer that meet their needs. They don't have to go into like a bestsellers collection or go through your all collection. They're finding stuff that, directly align with their interests. And then again, you can use that data and segment it in a Klaviyo or an Attentive, for SMS or Klaviyo for email, and have a bunch of segments that you've never had before. Everyone that likes, I don't know, shirts versus pants first and foremost, or someone who likes salt versus pepper, and you can have segments built around those product recommendations. So it's kind of as if you have a sales associate on your store that's making recommendations to clients.
Yeah, I love that. As a Libra, I'm very judgmental about that, though. Megan, I'd love to know more about how you personalize things, since your products seem so personal in nature. How do you then take that like one step further and personalize your customer experience?
I mean, I think it's, first of all, recognizing like the limitations of what I can and can't do. And so I try and treat our customers like a community and talk to them as if I was talking to my friends on the couch via newsletter. Like I try not to look at them as just a means to an end for the next sale. Like, this is a community that we're creating, and we're all here because we like soft things and we like to be comfortable.
Yeah. Love
and
it.
Sometimes I use my newsletter to share things like other local businesses that I'm interested in or that I stumbled upon and that I just want to share. Or this is my, like when we relaunched our Zoffies during the pandemic, we added the waffle weave texture on top, and we included our favorite waffle recipe at the bottom of that launch email. And we got so many comments back from people. They're like, wow, thank you so much. I'm so excited. And now I want to make waffles. So I think personalization for us is showing up like we want to create a community, but like stay here because we are values aligned with you, your personal values, and our business values.
Amazing. I also want waffles.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Ori, I know we talked a little bit about you writing some personalized messages to new customers. What other ways are you personalizing things for your shoppers?
Yeah, like a lot of early stage companies think that the way to be successful is to look like a big company, right? Like, how can we be more corporate? How many companies, when somebody sends a support ticket right back, we promise your ticket is a priority to us. We'll answer in 24 to 48 hours. Like, that's what United does. Like,
we're so busy.
Yeah, exactly. Like companies try to put on this air of professionalism, this air of size but we actually just lean into the fact that we're small. We lean into the fact that we're 3 full-time employees. We lean into all that by saying that you can actually have like meaningful and direct conversations with us. And so we write a lot of personal emails. We often, like me and my co-founder, I set up this order notification template that has name, number of orders, order size, destination. Is there a gift note on it? Did they leave us an additional note on how to treat it? And we respond to those as much as possible. So first, for the past couple of months, for first time orders, we've just been including a magnet sheet in there for free, just for fun. They don't know about it. It just arrives with an extra goodie. If this is your 5th or 10th order or something like that, we'll just add an extra jar of spices or a hat or kitchen towels or something like that. If we see that you came really close to the free shipping limit and ended up paying for shipping and that pushed your order over what it would have been with the free shipping limit, we'll just send you an extra set of spices or an extra set of towels just for fun. And we'll email you that and let you know. But the point is that this has really felt like a one-to-one kind of conversation. My co-founder, we get every single review written, every customer support ticket written, every single order that gets placed all goes into our inbox. And sure, we spend a lot of our day kind of flipping through all those things, but we end up reaching out to people and like emailing somebody about filling out a survey feels so anonymous, and hearing from the co-founder or somebody at the company that says, I'm a real human being. And we use a tool called Help Scout to be kind of our like centralized inbox for all the customer support tickets. And what we end up doing is we ended up hiring a bunch of people as part-time contractors to do our customer support, all who have been excellent customers for us. They're all ex-customers that reached out to us through one way or another and said, I want to be involved. What can I do to help? How can I engage in this and that? And you know what? It's so much easier to teach somebody who loves spices and loves cooking and loves our brand how to use Help Scout or any customer support tool than it is to teach a professional customer support person to talk about their favorite recipes and what they like to cook and all of that. And so that's really what we want to do. It's very much so inspired by the King Arthur Flour, like help a baker kind of hotline, right? Where you can reach out, like ideally with our technology and our Shopify setup and all that stuff, we will have dealt with all the tech issues and have kind of made things more intuitive and easy and all that stuff. And our customer support team is just there to create those personal connections and talk to people. And we encourage them to share. We encourage them to engage. We encourage them to do all that versus this very scripted thing. And you just end up creating such meaningful connections because people think they're about to write into United and be on hold for 87 hours and be told no due to this reason and that reason. And instead you're like, hey, that's a really good concern. Thank you for bringing that up. I share too. We're going to take care of you. People like go from like furious to like, oh my God, you're now my favorite company. And that's allowed us to spend a lot less money on marketing and acquisition because customers come back again and again and they tell their friends, and it creates a really beautiful virtuous cycle.
I love that. And I mean, we've already heard how well it's working for you, that you talk to customers all the time. You learn these great insights from having those conversations. That's really wonderful. All right. So I want to actually touch on something that, we talk about a lot at Shopify. We are a data-driven company. But I know that for some entrepreneurs, especially smaller teams, data can sometimes be a little overwhelming. It can intimidate you. It's hard to know what to look for. So I'd love to know, and Megan, maybe we can start with you. How do you make data work for you as a small business owner?
I mean, I'm definitely one of those people that prefers to be in the creative juices of like making new products for our company. But to get more comfortable with the data, you have to date the data, right?
I love that.
Look at it more to get comfortable. And it is really helpful to have those zoomed out views of like, okay, this is who's coming to our website. This is what's happening, whatever. A data point for us is we decided to start including shipping in our product cost on the website. So then when we're out in person, we can say it's $105 in person, it's $115 on the website because we have to ship it. But what we were seeing is that we had a super high increase of abandoned carts when we added the shipping because they didn't want to pay $10 in shipping.
That's
so we're
huge.
like, okay,
yes.
Okay, I get it. Whatever. We'll just include it in the price. And then our abandoned carts went down significantly. So like date the data, get more comfortable with it. That's the only way that you'll get more comfortable. And then like zooming out in those trends. And it actually helps me make better decisions about what it is that we're going to do next.
Nice. Yeah, that shipping, the surprise shipping cost at the very end, that triggers so many abandoned carts. It's so helpful when you can just bake it into the product price and then just offer free shipping across the board. I love that.
And also be honest with your customers, like just be vulnerable. It's like, hey guys, we can't, like we had to raise the price of our cushions and whatever. And we're going to include shipping in it, but but like, this is what it is. Just be honest with them. And everybody's like, I get it, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Mark, I want to hear your perspective on this too, because having worked with many merchants, I suspect that you'll have some really interesting insights about data and how you make it work. And like, what are you looking for when you look at the data that you're looking at?
Well, I love what you were just talking about, Megan, with the add to cart and the abandoned cart and looking at that, because that's something when we're looking at conversion rate optimization, that's something that we look at first and foremost, like where are people dropping off in the funnel? And, you know, we have a lot of merchants that have overload with data. And me being a developer, I can get down with Google Analytics. I mean, I can look at this data and really visualize it, but that's because I've been doing this for 12 years. And if you're new to this, then like reports can be a little bit scary, but they can also be, again, your best friend. One of the reports that I think are underutilized in the Shopify world is sessions by landing page report in Shopify. So if you go into analytics and then reports, there's one called sessions by landing page. And what that means is simply, it's the landing page that people are coming to when they first enter your site. So for most merchants, unless you have some landing page thing going on, their first landing page is going to be the home page. So like it'll be a backslash or, you know, whatever. But then what you really want to look at is what's the second most popular landing page? Is it a collection page? Is it a product page? Is it your hero product? Is it a collection page that, you know, is a bestseller? You can look at that, and that will inform your decision on like, hey, if we want to do a collection redesign or do a landing page on a collection, we should use the second most, you know, visited page that people are hitting on. And also like knowing that your homepage is your number one landing page should also tell you a little something, like you should be weaving your brand's DNA into the homepage because that's where the vast majority of your customers are landing. So you could take things small like that. And if you're looking for stuff to do before Friday, Cyber Monday, look at your landing page sessions and see where people are landing. And before, you know, Black Friday, you could even put a message up about Black Friday on those collections. You know, you could redirect those collections over to a Black Friday collection. A million things that you can do with this session data. But I think like if there's one report to look at that people don't look at, that's the one.
That just like that little nugget of advice right there, Mark, was just so valuable. I hope everyone listening like immediately writes that down, because that is such a great actionable item that they can take, you know, that action that can take before BFCM, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and the peak holiday season. That is what brings us all together today. So that's wonderful. I love that idea. So good. So if and Ori, I'm going to start with you for this one. So like, if I'm a merchant tuning in just right now, like I heard nothing else, what would you tell me that the most impactful thing that I could do today to create a personalized experience that is going to delight my customers? What one thing should I focus on?
I've been beating this like a drum over this. So I apologize if it's too much, but I think not enough people email their customers. Just email your customers. It's not scalable. You can't do 1,000. Just get in the practice of emailing your customers, asking them questions about what they like and what they don't like. And it's just going to give you the kind of like gold that you need, because the way that you compete with Amazon, we're not going to be able to ship faster. We're not going to be able to drop costs. We're not going to be able to do any of that stuff. We're going to be able to make a more delightful and customized experience. And so like we do a funny like happy 1-year anniversary to your spices when they hit a year, and just to kind of get people to do that. People really care about where their products come from and how they're made. And so few companies that I know actually open the veil on that. But it's actually a superpower of most of companies, because we actually know and we actually care, and we're connected all the way back to manufacture. It leads us to tell more personal stories. And it also leads us to like figure out what our customers are actually asking for and better serve them. So we've had customers ask us for empty jars. We're like, why? Like, because I want to share your spices. I was like, oh my God, of course we should do that. So now we have empty jars listed on the site. We've done just a million of these various things to just make it really easy. People kept getting frustrated when they had $44.90 and weren't hitting the free shipping limit. And they would write into us and say, hey, can you help? I'm almost at the free shipping limit. So you know what we did? We tell everyone the shipping limit is $45. We set it at $44 just for fun. Like, we've just done all these little things to hopefully surprise and delight and anticipate where people are getting stuck, because they've told us. And then we take it and we modify the site to end up making that work. And so we're really excited for that. And because of that, we don't do sales. Like, we don't do discounting. We don't do all these things. What we instead do is we tell stories about the spices. We bring back to kind of where they come from and how they're made and what makes them so special. And we keep making a million little tweaks to the site to kind of figure out how to better engage our customers and help them find what they want and check out with little friction.
God, I love that. The setting at 44, but you say it's 45, because if I were like at $44.10 and I noticed that it was free shipping, I'd be like, that's not supposed to happen. I would feel like I'm in the lottery. Like, that's not supposed to happen at all. What's going on? But I'll take it.
Yeah.
I love that. And Mark, I feel like you might have some interesting insight here too. Like, if I'm a merchant and I want to know the one impactful thing that I can do, coming up to BFCM to create a personalized experience. What advice do you give me?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've been working with just recently, and we have this brick and mortar merchant, and they invited us before the site builds to come in and go to their cheese shop and kind of have a tour and see the space and all that stuff. And one easy thing that we realized was that you can take that staff interaction that's happening, and I know I keep bringing this back to the sales associate, but it's important, and just make a staff picks collection. So you get your number one salesperson, that could be you if you're a small merchant, and you have them pick 15 items for the holiday season, their picks, and then write a little paragraph at the top of the collection, which is great SEO, and say like why you love it, what it's about. And if you really want to like growth hack it, you could sort it by bestsellers. So as things sell, the collection's going to dynamically change, right? So like, it's just an easy way to get people to where you want them to be. And then you could title the collection like, Joe's picks for holiday gifting, or Joe's picks for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Like, it's an easy thing, but it's powerful, because now you're saying, okay, you would go to the store and meet Joe. Now you have Joe online and you're seeing his picks. So you're getting that curated experience, and it's personalized to you as a customer.
I love that. And you included 2 little hacks in there, which are super amazing, that I want to just call out. The SEO hack is, putting in the description, and the little growth hack where you reorder the collection by popularity, essentially. Those are both 2 such small things, but they can make such a huge difference. I love that. Okay. So we were sort of touching on this idea of like, customer service teams. You're talking about associates. So as we look to BFCM, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, customer service teams are going to play a key role, as they do every holiday season, every peak shopping season, in supporting your shoppers through the holiday, and then also beyond, of course. Maybe, Ori, can you chat a little bit about like, how do you prepare I know you said there's 3 of you. How do you prepare your customer service team, AKA 3 of you, to gear up for the holiday season? What does that look
Yeah,
like?
we also work with like 6 part-time contractors. That's been kind of also our group. We've been cross-training them, creating templates and Help Scout. One thing that's actually also really important is we give them like kind of a rule where like anything under 10, 15 bucks, if they can make a customer's day with, they don't need to ask us for approval. They can just run with it and make it happen, to give them kind of the empowerment to do that. And then the other thing that we've been just looking into, honestly, is like, we've been looking at where do we get tickets, right? Where do people have questions? So we just launched with Rise.ai for gift cards, just because that's been really nice to have the built-in gift cards. You can't put in the recipient's email address and all that. Rise.ai lets you do that. And so that's been really cool. We wrote out a script. We're on Shopify Plus now. So we wrote out a script where if your order is, we're doing this for our 5-year anniversary. But so we're doing this a little bit early, but basically if your order is above a certain amount, we automatically add a free product to your cart. Because when we were looking with coupon codes and this and that, people were asking, hey, how do I apply? Do I need to add it first? What happens here and there? So honestly, it's just been about having this kind of conversation, having an empowered customer support team, and seeing what things we're running into again and again and again. And oftentimes an hour or two of a developer's time can fix things that you're running can save hours and hours and hours of customer support time. So we've been really trying to be intentional about identifying those issues throughout January through September, October is our prep for holidays.
Yep.
And then the rest of the year is holidays. And that's how we live by. So this whole year has been prep for that. And we're really happy. We feel good about it this year.
I love it. You know what? As somebody who really enjoys free gifts, I applaud the just automatically add the free gift once you hit that certain mark, and don't make me jump through the coupon or the discount code hoops. Just add it to my cart and make it like a surprise. I love that. That's really wonderful. And I also love this idea of empowering your employees to, like, within a certain dollar amount, just like make it happen. It makes their lives so much easier. And what a gift you give to your buyers then with that. Amazing. Megan, I want to shoot it over to you, since I know that you're an even smaller team than Ori's team is. So we call people who are entrepreneurs by themselves solopreneurs. So if I'm a solopreneur, which I am, and I'm low on bandwidth during the holiday season, if you could like pick one strategy that you would say that I should implement to get the best return, what would that one strategy be?
I think it would be a solid marketing or email drip campaign, in addition to a robust FAQ section. Like, we all went through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday shipping in 2020. We know what was very common problems and what came up again and again. So if you can kind of take those canned answers to help you navigate those questions for people and just be able to be answering multiple questions at one time, I think that's really helpful. We're working on that right now. And then just like look at your calendar. What is attainable? What's not? Like, I can send out 3 emails from before Black Friday to like the second week of December and stick to it. Because your email list is people that have already said, I like your brand. I might want to buy something, or I already have bought something. Rather than going out and trying to seek out new people, talk to the people that are already in the room and that already want your stuff.
Love that. Love that. I love this idea that, you stick to your plan. You don't have to send out an email every single day. Your cadence doesn't have to be enormous, but it has to be regular, and you just have to stick with it. As long as you can do that, then people know what to expect.
And I think like lean into your being a solopreneur, right? Like, people are there because they're getting a quality product as opposed to quantity. We've said this, you won't be able to compete with Amazon. That's not your value prop. Your value prop is you and your business values and your products. Like stick to it, but also don't make yourself crazy. Like, make a plan and stick to it.
Yeah, you're nailing it. Sound bites for days from you, Megan. I love it. All right, we're coming up sort of toward the end. I want to make sure we leave time for Q&A. So I want to actually address some like IRL, in real life, shopping instances. And Ori, I'd like to start with you on this question. So with capacity, sort of what we're talking about right now, capacity as an entrepreneur or solopreneur, sort of at top of mind during, the peak holiday shopping season. What goes into decision making when you consider a pop-up versus, a brick and mortar store that you might sell more permanently at, or selling with other like retailers or vendors?
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to think about like what can we manage and what part of the process do we need to own uniquely ourselves and what else don't. So we work with co-packers, we work with a fulfillment center, we work with all this, and then we have a freight forwarder and a customs broker and all these things so that they're all able to do their specialty thing rather than something we wouldn't be as good at. Even when we were two people, we had 4 lines of business. We did direct to consumer, we did grocery, we did food service to restaurants, and we did bulk to food manufacturers. I want to get 25 kilogram, 55 pound sacks of spices. And the idea was that we would just try to push a little bit and see what would come. And what ended up happening is Lush Cosmetics came in and wanted to buy turmeric for their bars of soap. And so we ended up supplying them in 55 pound sacks. Then Home Cooks came in, and during the pandemic, Home Cooks came in out of the wall, but we're not a finance company. We haven't raised money. We're bootstrapped. And so we never had money for big advertising campaigns. So we kept building our D2C on Shopify and hoping that more and more of our audience would move there and there. And after a while, grocery stores were like, hey, we like your spices. Our customers are asking for them. Can you sell them in cases? And we're like, oh, we pack these in cases of 12 anyways. So my point is like, we couldn't build an entire business for bulk, for grocery, for food service, for all this and that, but we're importing spices anyways in these big sacks. So we're like, can we sell the sacks? Sure, if somebody wants. Can we sell the cases of jars? Sure, we can. Like we just did all like Home Cooks that didn't want a jar, wanted a larger 1 pound container. We're like, oh, we sell this to restaurants. We'll just put them on the site. So we just kind of figured out the system where we could have all these channels working together without us having to make any big decisions or having to hire big teams or anything like that. It just gave us like a flow state. So when the pandemic hit, we were 50% restaurant sales, right? And then we went to 0% restaurant sales in March of 2020. But by May, direct to consumer had already more than made up for what we had lost from restaurant sales. And by the end of the year, we grew 5x. And so it was a really big deal for us. And Patagonia and Let My People Go Surfing. And that book, he talks about how as things go highs and lows, your channel mix just ends up shifting. And so by us being able to hold up these 4 different channels simultaneously, but not making any heavy commitments, you don't have any stores, we're not doing pop-ups, we're not doing any stuff like that that requires me and my co-founder stand there. We're kind of like the air traffic controllers, where we're looking at our inventory, we're seeing what we've got here, and we're making it easy for everybody to buy it in all the different formats. And we just move stuff from one box to the other as we need it. And so that really simplifies our life in a pretty meaningful way.
Nice. I love that air traffic controller. I love it. Mark, I want to go to you for this next question because I know that you have you've talked already about really loving retail, and so I want to know what are some unique takes on retail that you've either seen or experienced personally that like created that delightful experience for you as a shopper. I know we already talked about whiskey, and I'm right there with you, but like anything else that you have in your back pocket that you want to share with us that our listeners can glean information from.
Yeah, so I mean, I started in the e-com world going door to door on the Upper East Side and like going to boutiques, fashion boutiques, and trying to get them online. So I was doing the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So I was like trying to get boutiques that were already brick and mortar, get them online. And now I've seen D2C brands that, don't necessarily need to go brick and mortar. So, what's nice here, and if we go back to the data, what's nice here is you used to have to essentially have a life of, real estate to know where your consumers were. You would do all these reports, you would buy reports to know where your consumers are. Right now, you can go into the Shopify report section, analytics reports, and look at where all of your sales are coming from by zip code or by city. And you could literally narrow down where your customers are, like within a 10, 15 mile radius. And you could plop a pop-up right there in the middle of that radius. Like that is a superpower. And like that data is so valuable. And I'm sure both of you could look at your customer list or look at your reports and know exactly if you were to go into retail, if you were to make a brick and mortar, where it would make a ton of sense. And I just think, that's amazing. And we've seen one of our clients that Lolly Beauty, they started doing pop-ups in New York City. And what they found was every time that someone actually experienced the product, they came back online and bought afterwards. And so they started doing more and more pop-ups because it just made a ton of sense. And they were giving out samples and all this stuff. And now you can go to any Ulta like in the US and they're at like 600 locations plus other beauty stores. I mean, they have 600 locations now where they're stocked, and it's all because they started And I think like one of the meetings was at a pop-up, like it's just, there's so much opportunity, and it's so easy with Shopify POS to just like try a pop-up or try a marketplace or try a holiday thing, that I think if you know where your customers are, then you know where you can throw a pop-up.
Beautiful. I love it. Megan, I also want to ask you about your experiences having been delighted in a retail environment, because I know that you have some interesting things to share.
So at the beginning of the year, I would say most of our mix was like 75% e-commerce and like 25% in person. This summer, I think because so many more people are at home and vaccinations have come out and whatever, we've flipped. So we're more like 75, 80% in person and 20% e-commerce. And it's because we've posted up and decided to make a regular presence at farmers markets. And so it's a really interesting way because our products are so tactile. People can sit on them and try them. And they're like, oh, I just like how this waffle weave feels. And I look at it as an opportunity to bolster our email list and for more interaction with the customer, because it helps us learn like what are common questions. It's much what Ori is saying that he's doing via his customer service templates. We're getting live in action. And I think it's a way to bolster our sales right now through the summer and also capture those email lists that will take us into Q4, because we've increased our email list by like 90% by just being at a regular farmer's market one time a week.
Wow, that is astronomical. And actually that leads us into our first audience question. This is a great little segue. Thank you for making that, Megan. George is asking, can you speak to how you capture or build your email lists? And I don't know, Megan, if you want to like expound a little more on the farmer's market idea that you were just talking about.
Yeah, so we, by accident or whatever, ran out of business cards. Like we didn't need them during the pandemic, and then we were going to these in-person events and everybody's like, can I have a card? And like, let's be honest, if I give you a card, what are you going to do with it? It's going to end up in your bag or the trash can or whatever. So what we started to do is we have a clipboard and we're like, hey, we're out of business cards, but if you want to jump on our email list, that's the best way to stay in touch with us. And it's worked really, really well. It's just a clipboard, piece of paper, their email and name. And I'm always like, I will not bombard you. I promise. I will not bombard you. We just share cool stuff when we have new products. That's it.
Love it. Mark or Ori, do either one of you have other tactics that you use to grow your email lists?
I'm happy to, I mean, for us, we've done giveaways and stuff like that. It grows your email list, but it's low engagement people. I actually actively unsubscribe people all the time. I just have a Klaviyo, like if you haven't bought anything from us and opened an email in 6 months, I'm taking you off the list. You're not going to. And so what we just do more is we just make it really easy to opt in. I mean, Shopify and the checkout, just we keep opting in people whenever they start the checkout process. And we honestly don't even use an email pop-up, because we had this email pop-up and 97% of people were Xing out of it. So like 3% were filling it out. Cool, it was growing our email list, but 97% of people, it was inconveniencing them. So we didn't even put that on the site. So we have opportunities for people to sign up throughout the site where it's kind of not kind of frustrating. But honestly, even when we had 1,000 people on our email list, we started sending out newsletters. And now people really like our newsletters and opt into them and share them with their friends and do all that stuff. And so that's helped us grow it. But we pretended like we had a huge email list even when we didn't, and gave it the same kind of seriousness. Newsletters are way underutilized. They're free to send out versus like acquisition stuff and all that. Yeah. And so we just do that over and over again, even when we had a small email list, and then I'm just organically growing over time, which was really, really wonderful.
That's lovely. Are there recipes in your email list? Because if there are, I'm going to need to get on it.
Yeah, please. Okay. And now actually we're asking our people we have a spice forum on Facebook where people can sign in. We have like 6,000 members. They're all sharing recipes and they're very cute and sweet to one another. And now we're asking them to give us recipes for our website, which is really awesome. And so they get their like limelight spot of being able to
take a little 15 minutes. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously we're going to chat later. Let's see. Another question from the audience. When would you use quizzes in the customer experience? I know, Mark, you talked about some quizzes, so maybe you can take this one.
Sure. Yes. I mean, I think you could put it right on the homepage. Like you could have your front banner, linked to a quiz like, hey, we want to give you the perfect products and we want to curate this collection for you. take the quiz. It's 3 questions long, you know, and we'll be able to curate an experience for you. I think the homepage is a perfect place to put it, because again, if you're looking at that report that we referenced before, the majority of your traffic is landing on your homepage. So why not use it for something like that? And if you have some banner that's telling the DNA of your store and you don't want to use that up, throw it on the second, you know, section on the homepage, you know, and say, here's a quiz, you know, to get you what you need, rather than, you know, coursing through a bunch of pages of collections. You know, let our experts give you the tips and tricks that they've learned over X amount of years selling this product.
Yeah, right. Because you're just like you said, they're the experts, right? I trust the person who sells, you know, amazing, you know, stoneware to tell me which stoneware is best for my use, right? Maybe as a follow-up question, Mark, Liz is asking, what do you think of birthday club signups?
I love this. I also, like, contrary to the pop-up thing, I think pop-ups are really effective, actually. And like, especially if they give a welcome, like 10%, like we've seen people like do these welcome, you know, gifts and things, and that's been hugely successful. It's not for every merchant. Like, every merchant is different. For you guys, it doesn't work, but for other merchants, it might. And I think very much in the fashion space, it's something that people are looking for. They're ready, and like they're ready to sign up. And again, I think that can kind of be a superpower in terms of getting people to sign up and growing your list. And, you know, it's pretty easy. And as long as you build that into your margins, you build it into the cost of the product, that like you may have to discount it by this %. I think it's something that you can utilize to really grow your list too.
Yeah, and you nailed it when you said it's not right for every merchant, right? We heard from Ori that those didn't work for that company. It may not be baked into your DNA as a company, as a brand, to have those pop-ups or those birthday club signups, that kind of thing. And I think that that's one of the things that we hear, you know, or that I say to merchants a lot, is like, just because it works for one brand doesn't mean you have to do it, right? Like, there's no cookie cutter. There's no one right thing for every single merchant out there. It's what you know about your customers. And Megan, you sort of touched on this, like, you know your customers, you know where they're coming from, you meet them where they are. And if they're the kind of people who really would like that 10% discount, then that's a great option for you. And if they're the 90% who are clicking off because just let me get to the spices, cheese, then, you know, it doesn't work for you. So I think that's a huge takeaway, is just like, you know, we talk about tools. I know you have all sort of mentioned some tools like Klaviyo and Rise AI and that sort of thing. And while those sometimes work for some merchants, they're not a blanket, you know, cure for every ailment out there for every merchant. All right, we're coming up on time. Ori, there have been many requests apparently in the chat for your order notification and your intro email templates, and a request for any more details that you might be willing to share with us as we close out the conversation today.
Yeah, I'm happy to share it, and we can talk about what the right format is. My email is also ori@burlapandbarrel.com. Feel free to reach out. But what I would say is that we rather than offering kind of a discount approach, even for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we've always offered almost like a new product. Like, give people something that's exciting, that's new, that's limited edition, that's just like you don't have to add new content, share new things, do a unique run, a fresh harvest, and all this and that. And that's been really successful for us on our e-commerce, to just keep launching new products. We get to keep trying new stuff. We get like that. Whole Foods can't do that. You know, like the other big grocery stores can't make that happen. Smart. Giant McCormick can't do it. So we're just a lot more nimble. We're always putting new stuff in front of people rather than discounting. We're saying, hey, look at this cool new thing that is now available only for a limited time. And that creates a lot of urgency and engagement and all that. And I totally agree with you. I think that also people don't need that much of a push to just kind of get them off there. So if you can keep doing interesting content and launching new things and giving different variations. And for us, collaborations have also worked really well. We're a spice company. So we regularly buy back products that other people make with our spices. Like, these are apple cider caramels that a friend of ours at Little Apple Treats made with our hibiscus and black lime and cinnamon leaves. And so we sell it for her. She has it on her site. And that's another really fun way of growing your email list, because now her customers know about us, our customers know about her, and there's this really nice thing. And we both have this limited edition product that is kind of new in a non-competitive way to each of our businesses. So there's a really nice kind of marriage there.
I love it. Symbiosis almost. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wonderful. All right, my friends. Well, we are at time. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for joining me today and chatting with me. It has been such a pleasure to get to know more about your businesses and your brands and how you think about the ramp up into this, wild and bonkers peak season that we're going to have with all of the challenges we still have in place. And so I hope that you had a fabulous time as well. And I'm sure everyone who tunes in, either who tuned in live or who is watching on the replay, has gleaned just a number of amazing things. I know I have things that I'm going to go take and apply to my own brand. So thank you so much for sharing such rewarding and valuable insights. We're going to continue the conversation today over on Shopify's community forum. So any questions that you had that maybe didn't get answered, you can take them over there. There's a thread specifically for webinars that you can pop those questions in, and folks on the forum will help share. It's also a great way to just meet other entrepreneurs or solopreneurs who are, working on the same kind of thing that you're working on and facing some of the same challenges and struggles. And, you can, like Ori's group of spices, you can help be nice to each other and prop each other up and send each other recipes or whatever. And just like have an adventure on that entrepreneurial journey. So everyone who registered, watch out for the email that's going to come to your inbox with the recording from today. And again, you can also access it on shopify.com/BFCM. We've managed to cover so many topics. It's almost mind blowing to me how much we managed to get into this hour, but I'm sure there's more conversations to be had. So take them over to the forum, and you can, while you watch the replay, you can take more notes and all that sort of great stuff. And, just thanks for joining us today. Our next events, you should definitely put on your calendar October 13th for Shopify's Commerce Plus, which is going to be amazing. And October 14th for our workshop focused on something we covered today a little bit, which is the power of data. Megan, Mark, Ori, thank you so much. I'm Jenneviere from Shopify. Thank you. Have a great day.